Hi, hello, welcome. My name is V, also known as Nirami. So, what I want to talk about today. So, long story short, the new game, The Secret of the Mimic by Steel. So, I already gave my opinion about what I think, like, from my first impression before I finished the game. And now I finally finished the game, but I got only one ending. I'm currently working on getting the secret ending. Kind of complicated, but anyway, so I can kind of just share what my impression was and like what I experienced. So first of all, a lot of new backstory and information, and I'm pretty sure I still have not figured all of it, but it was just like a lot. Like, I'm already gonna tell you beforehand, I'm gonna talk about spoilers, obviously. So starting off the game, we go into this like big factory or like big building, and looking at all the costumes, just like generally, I don't know what year it takes place, but it's like it kind of gives like this like retro or like vintage vibe. I don't know exactly the name, but when I look at the costumes, and they're supposed to represent just like silly animals, but like, back then, whenever people would kind of try to draw silly, fun animals, they went, I think, into a lot of detail, trying to draw and make those characters. Because compared to today, like we have a lot of like this like rounder shape, like friendlier shape, like we make characters like super cute, simple and round, but back then I think it's just like they went into detail, making them cartoony, and them trying to make costumes out of it just was very creepy. Okay, so I get it, because I'm gonna be honest, even real life animatronics, I think Chuck E. Cheese, I don't remember, but whenever I see animatronics in real life, they all look kind of like spooky. Okay, old ones definitely. And when we go through the game, like I said, we figure out more and more about the story, and I really like the fact that we could listen to the voice tapes, of Edwin and Fiona as well. It kind of seemed like they were like a dream team, like they work just like perfectly together, which I thought was kind of cute, and honestly, hearing how it started, and like until the last voice messages, it's kind of depressing hearing that, what happened through all of it. But like I said, when you go through the game, you just like dive deeper and deeper into like this like fabric, and you see like all those sketches of those costumes and everything that was invented, and just like the backstory of the whole factory itself, and Edwin's creations, like Cleanobot, and just like the Stay Up Latte, and then hearing about all the like complaints and like lawyers and stuff. But yeah, like I said, like even when we realize that like Chica's party world basically is real, and seeing like old sketches of Chica as well, pretty much like the first ones, and her costume and the cupcake and everything. And then you also like see other characters like Monty, Foxy, Roxy as well, Roxanne. And just like really fun seeing like where it actually all started. I don't know, for example, for Foxy, like always thought that he originally did belong to like the Freddy Pizzeria, with Freddy, Bonnie and Chica. The same with Chica, But knowing the fact that Chica and Foxy specifically actually did belong to Edwin is just interesting. And about the playthrough as well, while I was playing the game, doing all those tasks and this and that, I saw a lot of people complaining like, oh, like this doesn't feel like FNAF anymore, because I guess you don't sit in front of like 1,000 like computers, trying to not get jump scared, but you actually have to run around and do things. I personally love it. I love when I'm able to participate and just like run around and do things. And not only that, but like I love the fact that the factory, like the factory was just like so big. There are like so many places you can visit where you start to wonder, what did I miss? Like there's probably like a little space that I didn't see yet, and you're just like intrigued to find more, which again, by the way, I'm usually not the type of person to collect things in game. I'm usually kind of person to play through and I'm done. But I was so intrigued by the secret ending that I was like, you know what, I'm doing this. I'm gonna get every collectible ever, and because I really want to see the ending, right? But yeah, like very big space, just like in Security Breach, this like very, very big like pizzaplex. And I don't know, I just love running around big spaces. Like I love when the game gives you an option to just like go wherever you want and just like take your time with it, like as if you're actually in the place. So, and through my playthrough, I will have to say, besides like again like, all the like amazing like backstory stuff and you know, sketches, character designs, voice lines, and whatever we missed. The ending that I got, yeah, I'm gonna talk about the ending. So my ending was the one when we escape, like when we go under the couch, and maybe you know the rest, but it ends up with us actually finding a room which is supposed to be the prototype for the Freddy Pizzeria, you know, because, you know, surprise surprise, William and Henry actually commissioned Edwin, you know, to make it for them. And oh, poor Edwin, he and I don't know, personally for me, I was so excited, you know, to see like where it all began. It's kind of like, it's just like, it's literally like where it all began, like the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, you know, like you go into a room and you see like the floor is the same, the stage is the same, you know, and I don't know, kind of mind-blowing. I may be overreacting, but I'm just very passionate about things sometimes, you know. And you know, while we're playing the room, there are like prototypes, so like Freddy, Bonnie, and they obviously look different from the original game, but again, they're prototypes, so like it's kind of cool to see like the first designs of the gang. And the fact alone that we kind of like change roles where we need to get to the office, you know, like, so we have to change, you know, and switch so that we can reach the office, you know, just takes you all the way back when you would sit in the office and like get scared that they're gonna enter through the door. But how to turn tables. And I'm gonna try like to just talk about what I thought was like crazy to me. And it's basically the fact that like after we're done with that, we go to another room where we found like more tapes, you know, of what happened, like the backstory, like for Edwin and Fiona. And you know, the big reveal that in one of the tapes, you know, that Fiona was actually a mimic the whole time, in those tapes, pretty much, as far as I understand. And I remember I was shocked. I was like, that was such a reveal. I was like, oh my god, that's kind of creepy, you know. And not only that, you know, but after we listened to all those tapes, you know, and we kind of hear the final tape, which is, you know, in this room, in this one room where like everything exploded. It was a tape where we start hearing M2, like Mimic 2, but with Edwin's voice, you know, because again, wow, crazy guys, the mimic mimics. But what's the crazy part about it was, I think, is simply how the mimic perfectly was copying how Edwin talks and literally like using the same words, like, you know, oh, not now, buddy. I don't know, maybe mom can do it for you, buddy. Like literally Edwin pleading in the background, you know, to get help, and the mimic is just like, oh, shucks, that's very unfortunate. Maybe tomorrow. Because guess what? Through all the tapes, we figured out that when David, Edwin's son, died, he made another mimic to replace David. But I think at some moment he realized that it went too far, and he actually tried to destroy the mimic then, you know, the second one that was supposed to be David. And it makes me kind of sad, because I think maybe that was the point where like M2 decided to, you know, was filled with hate, you know, because like, man, you created me and now you just hate me, you decide to destroy me for some reason. Like I'm kind of craving your fatherly love, but you neglect me, and now you just kind of try to destroy me, like you rip away my legs. With that said, it's simply like ironic how Edwin died because he was a neglectful father, you know. The mimic did pretty much what he was taught, like as David, I would say. And in my ending, by the end, the mimic is just like, after the factory gets set on fire, the mimic actually kind of escapes, and I don't think we're dead, but the mimic definitely escapes. So it makes me wonder, like, where did it go afterwards? Because again, the factory just burned down to nothing, so there is no home anymore. But I think we kind of figured out later in the security breach ruin, you know, that the mimic actually did go somewhere in a deep below. But yeah. Anyway, the game just left me with, like, the game answered so many questions people had. Like, there were like so much characterization. There was like, I don't know, it was done so well. And it just makes me want to question even more. And I love seeing people making so many cool theories about what happened and how it happened and what's going to happen in the future. I'm so excited to see what they're going to do in the future with the games. But I just can say I'm just excited for more. So amazing job. So if you did like the video of me just simply like talking about my obsession right now, which is this, I've been talking about it quite a lot, huh? But anyway, if you did like it, please like and subscribe, share the video, press on the notification button, and I'll see you next time. Take care of yourself, get yourself a little treat. Bye bye.